Good morning, children. In an environment, each and every animal or an organism plays an important role to maintain the balance of our environment. Even if any animal is extincted or if the number is reduced, it may cause an harmful effect of in the balance of an environment. So, we need to preserve, protect each and every organism in our environment. With this, we are starting with the new topic: energy flow in an ecosystem. Let us see first how the organisms are classified in our ecosystem. Organisms are classified into different types depending upon their mode of nutrition. That means, depending upon what they eat, the organisms are classified. Organisms are classified as producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, top consumers, and omnivores. Let us see in detail each type of organism. The first is producers. The organisms that produce their own food are called as producers. That means plants produce their own food with the help of sunlight, mineral, water absorbed from soil, and the chlorophyll in them by the process of photosynthesis. Hence, they are called as producers. The next is herbivores. They are also called as primary consumers. These animals depend upon the plants, that is, the producers or autotrophs, for their food. Examples are grasshopper, squirrel or elephant, and many more. The third is carnivores. They are also called as secondary consumers. These animals use herbivores as their food. That means they feed upon the primary consumers for their food. Examples are frog, which eat insects, owl, fox. The next is again carnivores, but they are called as apex or top consumers. These consumers use herbivores as well as the secondary consumers, that is the carnivores that we saw in the previous slides, like owl, frog or fox, as their food. These are the animals which form the top of the consumers section, and no other animals feed on these consumers. Examples: tiger, lion. The next is omnivores, or they are called as mixed consumers. These organisms feed on producers as well as herbivores. So you can say that in a very simple term, they are vegetarian as well as non-vegetarian. The examples are humans, bear, let us see how these different consumers depend on each other through the food chain. Food chain is the feeding relationship among the producers, consumers and decomposers in a definite sequence. It is a diagram that shows how food is transferred from one organism to other. Let us see its diagram. If you see over here, the food chain, the first are producers. Producers prepare their own food with the help of water and sun, and then the food or the nutrients are passed, or we can say that they are fed upon by grasshopper. That means grasshopper feeds on the producer. You can see over here its primary consumer. Then the secondary consumer feed upon the grasshopper. Here the secondary consumer is frog. Next is the snake, which feeds upon the frog, and it is tertiary consumer. And the last is final consumer is hawk, which eats snake. After the hawk dies, it is decomposed and the nutrients are transferred to fungi or any other microorganisms. They absorb the nutrient. Let us see one more diagram of the food chain. If you see over here, again the same things. Here grass is there, then grasshopper. Here there is a rat, then the rat is taken by skunk. Then over here we have the eagle, and then eagle after the death. Here we can see these are microorganisms, fungi. They absorb the nutrients, and when they and from there the soil, again the nutrients are transferred to the grass. So food chain shows the transfer of energy within an ecosystem. Energy is transferred between the organisms when one organism eats another. A food chain is a simple linear series of steps, while a food web is more complex. Let us see a food web. Food web is intricate and complex intertwining of different food chains. That means what happens in the real nature? The food chains are not simple because one organism feeds upon many other organisms, or sometimes one organism is fed upon many other organisms. So food chain is never simple. There are many intricate food chains in a single food web. Let us see with the help of a diagram. Here if you can see, here producers is there, grasshopper is there, but grasshopper is also eaten by skunk and also it is eaten by rat. Rat is eaten by eagle as well as the skunk. Skunk is also eaten by eagle. Then here you can see we can call this as a lobster. Lobster is also eaten by skunk and many other like this. Different organisms are eaten by a single organism, or a single organism is eaten by many different organisms. So food web shows the transfer of energy within an ecosystem. Energy is transferred between organisms when one organism eats another. Let us see what are the trophic levels. Each level in the food chain is called as a trophic level. A trophic level is the step at which organisms obtain its food in the chain. The amount of matter and energy gradually decreases from producers and lowest level to top consumers at the highest level. That means when the energy is getting transferred from one trophic level to another trophic level, the energy is decreased. It is highest when it comes to the lowest and becomes lowest when it goes to the highest. Next is energy pyramid. This will give us the idea of how the energy gets reduced from one trophic level to the other. Let us see over here. This is the base, the first trophic level. Here the energy is 100%. Now out of this 100%, 90% of the energy is used by the producers for their own life processes, while only 10% is transferred to the next trophic level or the first level consumer. Here it is a grasshopper. Grasshopper will again use 90% of its energy and only 1% will be given to the next trophic level. That is the second level consumer. Same thing happens in the case of the frog, and in the case of third level consumer, only little, that is 0.1%, that is 10% of the total energy is given. Like this, if you see, the energy is reduced. This diagrammatical representation of the energy is called as energy pyramid. It shows the energy transfer that takes place at each trophic level. The initial quantity of energy goes on decreasing at every level of energy exchange. Also, the number of organisms decreases from the lowest to the highest trophic level. Let us see one more time the diagram of energy pyramid. Here you can see producers 100% energy. This includes phytoplankton, cyanobacteria or algae. The next is herbivores. They are transferred only 10% of the energy. These include zooplankton or snails or urchins. Next we can see the carnivores. These are secondary consumers, or we can say about the herbivores. They are this is related to the aquatic animals, so you can see mostly the names of the fishes: sea stars, whale sharks, most of the fishes. Next is the secondary carnivores. We have rays, octopi, that is octopus, and the last is apex predators. These are tiger sharks and eel. If you see, happen to see over here it is 100% energy, then here 10%, then here 1%, then here 0.1% energy, and at the end it is only 0.01% energy. So the apex consumers or the top consumers get the least amount of energy. Let us see how is the flow of nutrients in the ecosystem. Producers prepare their own food with the help of photosynthesis, in which inorganic substances are converted into organic. Inorganic in the sense water, minerals from the soil is converted into starch or cellulose into the producers. Consumers consume the food produced by producers or primary consumers. Thus, the nutrients are thus passed from one trophic level to next trophic level. Consumers will consume the food or they will consume the producers. Similarly, primary consumers will be consumed by the next consumers. Then secondary consumers eat the primary consumers. Like this, the process continues and the nutrients is traveled or is passed from one trophic level to another trophic level, just like energy pyramid or food chain. After the death of producers and consumers, the decomposers release the nutrients into the soil. These nutrients are again absorbed by the producers, that is, the plants, from the soil. Thus, the flow of nutrient is cyclic. That means the plants take the nutrients from the soil and after decomposition again they get it back from the soil. So we can say that the flow of nutrients in an ecosystem is cyclic. Let us see how is the flow of energy in the ecosystem. Sun is the ultimate source of energy. That means all the organisms that are present on the earth or in the ecosystem get the energy from sun. Producers store this solar energy in the form of food. From this energy, some of the energy is used by the organisms in the same trophic level for their life processes. Like producers will take the solar energy and they will use it for their own life processes. And the remaining energy is passed from the producers to the next trophic level, that is the consumers. The process continues till the energy is transferred to the top level. But after the decomposition of this top level, the energy is released in the atmosphere in the form of heat. That means no energy is given back to sun. Hence, we can say that the flow of energy in an ecosystem is unidirectional. Unidirectional means it flows only in one direction. This is all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.